Dankie, morning. Dankie vir die geleentheid vanoggend. Ons sien dit vanoggend se praatjie is inligtings net om inligting te deel en ervarings wat ons gehad het in Mafube. Kan ons vir julle vanoggend kan ons met julle deel en wat is die basiese expectation, the basic expectation that you guys want. This is basically what we have realized. It's actually quite simple. We're not asking for a lot. If I was sitting in Free State or Tshwane or wherever, I just want my electricity to work, and the same goes for water. And when I flush the toilet, I shouldn't drive through the sewage when I go to my house. The basics, the very, very basics. Secondly, the faults and inquiries. Can somebody please just answer or come back to me or just make it easy to get service? So you guys can see there. The third point, regular and credible billing. Can I trust the documentation that comes from the municipality? I don't want to pay more than I have to. I don't want to pay less. Nobody sitting here is expecting anybody to subsidize and pay his accounts for him. We will all pay our own accounts. We just want that service and credible service at that. And then the ease of payment and the ease of engagement with the municipal structures and the services delivery. And lastly is there feedback that comes from the municipality on some sort of a platform, either SMS or in the newspaper or on their websites. Is it current? Is it like any other private sector business? Because I want to engage. And remember, the municipality is actually the same as Coca-Cola and Pick n Pay. If it's a dirty Pick n Pay, will we support it? Will we pay for the goods? Will we go and shop there? No. We just want something that's clean, functional. Have I got this kind of right? Let me just hear from you guys. Is this kind of what you want or not? This is what we can help you, if I say help you with, that we can share our experience is to actually get to that stage. So if that's then relevant, then we can continue to the next slide. We've been around, family business, since 1990. Our oldest company is 1990. We still trade under the same name. Ons is nog steeds dieselfde aandeelhouers. Ons het in 30 jaar het ons nie nodig gehad om weg te kruip of naam te verander, nuwe besighede te begin nie. Selfde maatskappy, selfde aandeelhouers, selfde struktuur, jou credibility, dit is wat aan die einde van die dag as jy met 'n gemeenskap betrokke is dit jou woord. Dis waaroor dit gaan. So ons doen nou al sedert 1993 in die dienstebedryf. Werk ons waar daar chaos is. Dis eintlik wat ons doen. Of die chaos nou in Suid-Afrika is en of die chaos waar ons eintlik naam begin maak het was north of our borders in Africa, where there were no roads and there was no electricity and there was the only running water that there was the running water in the street. Dis die omstandighede wat ons dienste in begin lewer het. En dit is dieselfde of dit nou Absa Bank was wat ons gehelp het met al hulle eiendomme, hulle bestuurstruktuur vir hulle assets en hulle elektrisiteit en water was in chaos gedompel. Ons het dit vir hulle uitgesorteer en hulle kon daarmee aangaan daarna op hulle eie. Dieselfde as ons gaan kyk in Namibië. Ons het daar gewees het vir 15 jaar, 3 verskillende kontrakte. Ons het amper 20 jaar gebly. Die dag toe ons loop, toe begin hulle weer nie betaal vir hulle dienste nie. Maar ten minste werk die infrastruktuur. So, ons vaardigheid, en daarvoor ons kan vir julle dalk leiding gee, is om van chaos te gaan na iets wat werk in 'n baie kort tydperk. En Parys, ons was baie naby en ek dink dit was in 2013 wat ons amper toe al aangestel was om na julle dienste te kyk. En ongelukkig het hierdie hele politiek en die corruption and other maladministration unfortunately made that we didn't come to you guys. But in that period, and we didn't just do Mafube, we actually did in Maluti Apofong. We were there for 7 months officially before we terminated that agreement. And in 7 months, Harry Smith today still has electricity because we actually rebuilt Harry Smith, Tihami, Kestel, and we did quite a lot of work on the backbone in Kwakwa. And in 7 months, everybody started paying. So we're not dealing here with a situation that although there's extreme chaos, in a year's time, you guys can actually have electricity again, and yes, there are going to be interruptions because you have to do maintenance and work and upgrading, but you will be able to carry on. It's possible for you to carry on with your life. And that's perhaps the hope that Save NGWATHE is talking about today. There is hope, and it has been demonstrated that it works. If we go to the next slide, please. Now, this is the situation, and NGWATHE is just perhaps this purple line at the bottom of the curve. You guys are experiencing now, people in Western Cape and in Cape Town specifically think that they are immune, that this will never touch them. There's news for them, because we are in this downward trajectory. The fact that it doesn't seem so bad if we don't do something about it, hierdie is 'n probleem. Ons dienste gaan af, ons ekonomiese groei gaan af, werkskepping is af, en vir ons om in hierdie land te bly, we have to have jobs, we have to have sustainable jobs, we have to create new jobs, and we can't create new jobs if our infrastructure doesn't work. Next slide. So we want to stay in the Free State, and if we want to stay in the Free State, we need to involve ourselves in our towns and in our communities in the Free State. There's absolutely no other hope. First of all, we know we have a problem. That's why I think there's so many people here this morning. Once we acknowledge we have a problem, dan weet ons mos nou, luister, ons sit met 'n probleem. Die tweede stap vir daai probleem is om te sê, nou gaan ons iets doen omtrent daai probleem. En is nie die buurman wat iets gaan doen om daai probleem reg te maak nie. Dit is ons onsself wat daai probleem gaan adresseer. Dis nou verby die tyd om te sê iemand gaan hier inry op 'n perd en ons probleme vir ons regmaak, want dit gaan nie gebeur nie. Daar's die antwoord wat ons wil hê, the result that we want. Efficient, affordable, quality services for everybody. If my employee doesn't pitch this morning because he couldn't get to the job, who's reaping the financial loss? We're reaping that financial loss as an employer. So the first person that has to have a proper road is the poorest person. The first person who has to have quality electricity is the poor person. And the first person that has to have running water always, because he cannot load his Hilux full of water and take it home, go to a shop and go and buy water, is the poor person. If we look after our communities from the bottom up, not from the top down, I can drive with my Porsche to Joburg to go and buy water and batteries, solar panels, but if I'm poor, I cannot do that. And that's the bit that we need to bring to the table, is we need to look after everybody. Now, if 1, 2 and 3 is actually in place, then automatically we can continue with our life. Ons kan dan boer, ons kan goed in ons fabrieke maak, ons kan fokus op ons besigheid om nuwe klante te gaan soek, nuwe idees mee vorendag te kom. En as dit gebeur, dan kyk ons na ekonomiese groei en ons is in daai positiewe siklus. So hierdie gaan nie net oor elektrisiteit nie, hierdie gaan oor die totale munisipale dienslewering, wat baie, baie belangrik is. As julle dink Parys of Vredefort is uniek, is nie uniek nie. Almal sukkel met dieselfde probleme. As julle hier kyk, net baie vinnig, netwerk is in 'n toestand, hier's nie spaarparte nie, hier's nie mense wat wil nie. Almal skud hulle kop maar net, hulle het nie petrol in die bakkie nie, en die bakkie werk nie, telefone werk nie, die website werk nie, die e-mails bly ongeantwoord. Wat se hoop is daar? En 'n groot ding wat ek vir julle hier kan wys, sien julle daai hoë elektrisiteitsverliese? Ons het dit nou al baie in die koerante gesien dat die mense krag steel. Nee, the community steals electricity. Remember, that's what it says in the newspaper. You know how many times we've found people selling electricity. You get a voucher that looks like a municipal voucher. That electricity doesn't even see the municipality. That money is being sold, electricity is being sold, people in the townships are paying for electricity, and at the end of the day, that money goes missing. When we found that scam, and we didn't find it in only one municipality, we were petrol bombed. Our guys were threatened. Because remember, if you buy a 100 Rand token from somebody, that the money doesn't even go to the municipality. That 100 Rand is pure profit that goes into that criminal network. So the community is being blamed and saying that they don't pay for services. That might be true in certain circumstances, for sure, but not as wholesale. We are people, we are good people, we all try to make a living, en dan word ons geblameer omdat ons dink ons betaal nie vir ons dienste nie. En die ander groot probleem, ek kry punt nommer 1, het Pieter vir my opgespoor Vrydagmiddag. Julle het 'n dokument in NGWATHE SDIP 2021-2022. Weet jy wat probeer die munisipaliteit endeavor om die elektrisiteitsverliese tot onder 50% te bring? Regtig? Is dit hoe laag ons baar is? As ons dokter toe gaan, dan hoop ons nou maar ons kan 50% van die pasiënte. Is dit goed genoeg? Nou as dit jou target is, hoe gaan jy ooit enigiets gedoen kry? Is dit jou lus om die losses reg te maak, maar onthou daarbo, jy praat oor losses, maar as dit jou revenue stream is, kan jy ooit jou losses wel reg maak. Dan kan jy mos vir die res van jou lewe die gemeenskap blameer. So, dis ontsettend belangrik vir julle om betrokke te raak. En julle het tog councillors wat julle voorgestem het. Hulle moet raad toe gaan. Elke councillor moet gaan sê, maar 50% is nie goed genoeg. Ons maak eintlik 'n bespotting van ons land. Weet julle, en ek kom gereeld oorsien van ons voorsieners. Ek is skaam om te sê ek kom van Suid-Afrika, want elke keer as jy hoor waar jy kom van Suid-Afrika, dan sê those guys that steal so much. Dis nie ons nie. Dis nie Suid-Afrika nie. It's not South Africans. We need to change that picture. So, is there hope? And that's what Simon Bartek asked just before me. Is there hope? The community here in Mafube has actually done it. Black, white, EFF, ANC, the poor guys, they all work together. And they reap the benefits. If you go and look at the property prices in Frankfurt, it's double the property prices elsewhere in the Free State. Why? Because there's a perception of the lights are burning. If we get complaints from the community, it's because the street lights stay on after load shedding kick back in again. So you can see the challenges which they're facing is not the challenges which you guys are facing. So you want people with a track record. Have they done it before? You can't be a novel. Julle is mos nie nou die toetskeis nie, die testkeis. Julle is mense met werklike behoeftes. Jy wil net krag en water en soor moet uitgaan. So, hoekom moet jy nou die lab wees? Kry mense wat kan. Wie is daai mense wat kan? Eskom is besig nou met active partnerships. Dis een ding wat ek kan nog gaan kyk. Is om te sê, wil julle nie Eskom met julle diens gee nie? Hulle help ook dan net met die elektrisiteit. Maar die druk weer op Eskom is baie. Hulle net Maluti opgevang het, hulle nou so active partnership geteken. En ek praat nou die dag met die een hooggeplaaste Eskom en ek sê wel, onthou nou, ons het dit in 7 maande gedraai en julle volle rekeninge betaal na 7 maande. So julle as Eskom gaan dit seker vinniger kan. Sê, hulle het baie werk en hulle het baie krisis. So, maar dis vir ons belangrik. Eskom has to succeed in all our interests, because in NGWATHE is but one community. There are many communities that need solutions. There could be the Italian utility, there could be the French utility, other international utilities. The problem with those other entities, the money that's being made there is then exported. Vir ons in Suid-Afrika om die voet te maak werk, moet ons ten minste net eers die geld is bietjie hier hou. Baie belangrik. Tweede stap, wat krisis is. is julle elektrisiteit inkomste, julle water inkomste, daai diensleweringsinkomste moet julle beskerm, want dis die inkomste wat wegraak. Daai moet geringfens word julle utility services, because that utility services revenue has to be applied for services delivery, not parties, not cars, not houses, must be there for service delivery. And thirdly, you guys are on life support. This community is hanging by a thread. Are you going to wait for a tender process from the municipality to find a supplier? By the time that supplier is appointed 5 years or 10 years or 15 years from now, what's going to be left of this community? You need a solution now. You need to see trucks rolling in tomorrow. How are you going to get that? And does the law allow for that? For sure, there's an exception to everything. Get the Minister of Finance, get the National Treasury heads around the table. At the same time, get the Premier, get Eskom, because you guys owe Eskom, the municipality owes Eskom billions. So Eskom must be part of the solution. Your community structures must be part of the solution. Sit around the table. Then what a local municipality executive has to sit around the table, whether anybody likes them or don't like them, they are part of the solution. They have to sit at that table and then identify that new identified short-term operator. Nobody's going to come in here and fix something for the next 30 years. There must be a solution now for the next 3 years, the next 5 years. Thereafter, the municipality and the community can decide what the way forward is. But you need a solution now. Eskom needs a solution like yesterday. So Eskom is your partner in this thing. Where did this whole electricity disaster, where the municipalities didn't pay Eskom, where did it start? Unfortunately, we had a hand in that. Because the municipalities were told you don't have to go and get a third-party operator to help you pay Eskom. Eskom is government, but if Eskom doesn't get money, it's not a problem. So to keep people out of the market, we created this total mess where we need to go. So my apologies for our role in that we were kind of good at fixing chaos. But now you guys have to jump in and fix that. So there's a simple solution. And it's working here on your doorstep. The Mafube municipality has asked us whether we can help them with their other administration also. How to deal with their water administration, meter readings, getting correct bills. And we said we do that. And that's what we're busy doing, and they're not even paying us for that. Why not? Because if we can build Mafube and it becomes a place where everybody wants to come and live, then we're going to make up for our bit of expense now in the growth of the town. We all need to do what we're good at and help where we can to change the communities. And again, NGWATHE said that. You as a family, as the NGWATHE family, you need to put all your fighting behind you and first come together as a family, everybody. And if all of you come together as a family, fix your problems. Once the problems are fixed, you can all go in your separate ways and fight each other again. But it's not going to make sense for you now to not be united. Now's the time to be united. It's not about politics, it's about survival. It's about being able to afford your next meal. That's what it's about. It's got nothing to do with anything else. Businessman wants to produce, he can't produce, he can't pay salaries. A guy that goes home in the evening just wants to open his tap, have a bit of water, and he can't do that. Secondly, all those issues. If you're talking, and again, NGWATHE made that clear, don't talk. Let's create the paper trail. We've given the NGWATHE access to technology, and there's going to be a nice new app that will be launched on NGWATHE website next week, where you can physically just take a photo of the pothole. Once you take a photo of the pothole, it automatically registers and we can put it on a graph. So when Save NGWATHE goes to meet with the municipality, they go with a map and saying there's 300 complaints about this pothole, there's 1 complaint about that, there's 6,000 complaints about water. Where are those complainants? It's credible. Somebody can pick up the phone and call that complainant, which means something is going to happen. So you have to go onto the website, get the details, you'll see it on the next slide now as well. Register those complaints of yours. Julle moet aanbied doen. Dis deel van, dis my probleem en ek gaan help om 'n oplossing vir die probleem te wees. En die derde ding het ek al nou gesê. Julle het julle raadslede verkies. You elected your councillors. Those councillors now need to come to the party. You guys want service and you want service now. Not in 5 years' time and on promises. You want a solution to the problem. Then the next slide. That is the detail you'll find on the website. So you can do it from your cell phone, you can do it from your email, you can even send an SMS and register your issues on that. And if you submit your complaint, you will get a reference number. That reference number, and if you end up having 10 or 15 or 20 reference numbers, it means that there's a track record of each of those reference numbers. Nobody can dispute that you have involved yourself and that you've notified everybody of your complaint. And that is about that. The last slide is there any questions, perhaps?
We're going to touch the salaries of Mrs. Meyer and the salaries of all the people working for the municipality. Have you felt that there was any resistance to what we're doing or going to do? It certainly is how we're going to do it. We're going to prevent them to have the salaries they had all along. From 94 was opinion.
Anybody else has a question?
Bespreking gegaan het eintlik hoe lank sal dit vat as ons rural hier wil hê en dinge begin verander?
Jy het vroeër in jou gesprek gepraat van dat die rede hoekom jy weggewys is nie was ook polities en sovoorts. Maar my vraag is net dood eenvoudig. Wat was die hoofrede hoekom dit gebeur het? En ek is nie eens bewus daarvan, hoewel ek nou weggewerk het, groot deel van my lewe bly al van 2011 hier in my huis. Wat was die hoofrede hoekom jy weggewys is? En dit is 7 jaar. As ons 7 jaar terug begin het saam met die padstap ons gesit het met die krisisbestuur wat ons nou mee sit.
Hulle het gepraat op RSG van die mense skoonmaak gebruik vir tuin, maar soos dakwater, afloopwater gebruik en al die goed. Ek wil graag weet, ons het 'n fantastiese systeem gehad in Parys, die leidvoorwater, wat eenvoudig net in sy weggevat is. Wat is die rede daarvoor? En die besondheid dat goed gedink, veel geld kan hulle bespaar, met hulle waterwerke wat nooit op datum is, weer daai leidvoorwater terugkom.
Chris, daai laaste vraag sal ons graag van ons kant af wil antwoord, as jy reg is. Jy dan nie eindelijk.
Ek gaan ons net daai afsit kan julle my nou by die eerste vraag. That was the resistance in the municipality. Is the municipality and the officials, perhaps the executive, are they going to cooperate with this? Now, and I'm just going to tell you what we found in other municipalities. I can't speak for this municipality because in the last 7 years we haven't had any dealings with any official in this municipality. But what we have found is where the officials don't want to cooperate, there's large-scale theft and looting taking place. Because remember, if you do things properly, well, the first thing you do is you close the taps on the funds. And when you close the taps on the funds, there's nothing more to take. Because all of that, especially in our systems, everything is transparent. You know where the funds are going. So we have in a place like Modimolle, we've physically experienced the sabotage. Every time there was load shedding, the town wouldn't come back on. It would be hours before the load shedding has been returned. We actually investigated there and we found that they put the settings on the switch gear. They just lowered the settings on the switch gear. And when everybody complained about the electricity not coming back, they said that the capacity in the town is too small, they need to build a new substation. So they built a new substation. There's no feeder coming out of the substation, there's no feeder going into the substation, it's just electrical wires in one spot with no connection for, I don't know, 75 million, 80 million, 100 million rand that they spent on that substation. Yet, in the original substation, they were only using 18 megawatts of 60 that's available. So they were using less than a third of the capacity that's available. But they justified an entire new project simply because they reduced the settings on the switchgear. So if you have proper executive here in NGWATHE, they are not going to chase you away when you come with solutions. The problem comes in when people are benefiting financially from a dire situation. Then they want to keep all solutions away. And I think that's something that you guys are now going to find out for yourself, and I think that's an answer that you're going to give me in 6 months or a year, whether your executive and your staff, the staff of the officials of NGWATHE local municipality are actually honourable, have integrity, and are just straightforward. So we'll hear from you on that one. Second question, where do we get our money? Well, previously we sold businesses to generate the cash for a ability, but we lost a lot of money. The need now in NGWATHE is a serious need. So the answer is not just the rural. We can execute and we can turn it around very quickly. But the answer, unfortunately, is not just rural. We need to get national government sitting around the table, and then how we get the money and where we get the money from will then be debated around that table. Because there is a lot of money available in the marketplace for proper utility projects and infrastructure projects. But they have to be above repute. We cannot embark on those projects. There's not one person who's going to give 1,000 rand to NGWATHE or to fix the infrastructure, because the environment isn't conducive. So we need to fix it with all those parties around the table. Thirdly, hoe lang gaan het vat om rural te kry? Weer eens, die antwoord is die eenvoudige ding. Om die antwoord hier te kry en aan die gang te kry, dit is die $1 million question waar ons van agteraf gekom het. Hoe lang gaan dit vat? Dit gaan so lank vat vir julle om die premier en nasionale tesourie en Kokstad hier in te kry, make them part of the process. And they have the power to have a solution in weeks. That is available in the Act caters for that. But that is something that this community is going to drive. Jy weet, wanneer jy gat vol genoeg is, dan kom die antwoorde gewoonlik. So ek dink dit is waarvoor die antwoord nou wag. Fourth question. Wat was die rede destyds na 7 jaar? Hoekom het ons nie hier aangegaan nie? Hoekom is ons uit Malinti uit weg? Nadat ons vir Eskom maand na maand sy volledige uitstaande balans vir die verbruik vir die maand betaal het. Want daar was verwag van ons om 'n 20% bribe te betaal. En as ons nie die 20% bribe betaal nie, dan is ons nie meer welkom nie. En onthou, hoe was ons model? Hoe het ons model gewerk? Ons het ingekom en vir die provinsie gesê en vir die munisipaliteit gesê, julle hoef ons nie 'n waarborg te gee nie. Ons waarborg is die gemeenskap. Wie gaan die werk doen in elke gemeenskap? Is die gemeenskap homself. Wat doen ons in die gemeenskap? Ons bring die kennis en ons bring die vaardighede, en dan begin ons dadelik om lokale mense aan te stel. Want wie beter om 'n gemeenskap te dien as die mense wat hier bly? Nie waar nie. Dit is so eenvoudig soos wat dit is. Dit het by Eskom gewerk in 1993 was ons instruksie by Eskom, maak net ons verliese minder. Die townships maak ons dood, so maak net ons verliese minder. With all of that township business, we didn't make their losses less, we actually made Eskom a profit in the townships. Why? Because the model fibre of our South African citizens are much better than what any of us want to give ourselves credit for. We're sitting with decent people in South Africa. That is our guarantee. So we don't want guarantees from National Treasury, we don't want guarantees from the municipality. We will source the funds, we invest the funds, fix the networks, and if you guys know now in Mafube, when private sector comes in, what do? We raise the tariffs, not so, and we let people go. What happened in Mafube? We doubled the staff complement in Mafube, and every year that NERSA allocated a percentage to us for the last 9 years except this year. This year was the first year that we accepted the tariff increase as allocated. Every previous year, we actually rejected NERSA's tariff increase and we requested a lower tariff increase than what they already offered us. Why? Because we need economic growth. If we can make electricity more affordable with everybody paying for electricity, then we can reduce the cost of electricity to everybody. And to give you guys an idea, in Mafube, our electricity losses are ranging between 5 and 6% a month. And that losses is people who don't pay and the technical losses. So for all intents and purposes, we actually don't have losses. In a very poor environment, very poor communities, everybody pays for the services that they receive. And that's what we said. We bank on the fibre of our communities, and the fibre of our communities are absolutely fantastic. Much better than a government guarantee. Rather bank on your community and you'll do much better. So the only reason why we actually paused over the last 7 years was when we stopped and we said we are not going to bribe. Because we are investing, we're not getting any money from government, we're not getting any guarantees from government. Then suddenly the claim was made that we would have actually bribed municipal managers to the tune of 25 million rand. Now guys, if you are bringing the cash, you're bringing the expertise and the resources and the materials, why would you want to give somebody money to come and work there? You can't do that. So it took us 7 years in this court case, and in 2019, just before COVID, we won the case and our name is untarnished. And we unfortunately had to retrench 1,000 of our employees. But at the end of the day, it was the least amount of drama, which means we're still in business and we can still assist going forward. And then just the last one, and I know you guys will deal with the water issue. I'm dealing with, I'd rather take that question and say, the good historical practices, why were those ceased? And that is absolutely the $1 million question. Get it back. Kyk wat het gewerk in die verlede. Fokus op die sterkpunte wat daar is. En almal se idees, daai klein basiese goedjies, bring dit terug dit wat werk. Want dis nog dit weet ons mos gaan werk. En ek is seker met wat NGWATHE beplan vorentoe, is dit ook iets wat baie maklik kan gebeur. En hopelik is hierdie triestige Deel in Parys en in Poppies en in Heilbron se geskiedenis iets wat binnekort dalk gaan verbeter. Dankie vir die geleentheid. Ekskuus, daar was nog een vraag daar agter.
I'm sorry. Just like to find out, obviously you're not a charity organization. You make money out of it. Right. How does it affect me as a ratepayer? Or is it included in my current rates? Does that have no influence on my electricity tariffs and my rates and taxes at the end of the day? How do you recover more from it?
Okay, to do good, you need to have means. So you're 100% right. We've done a lot of good because we had means, so we are definitely not a charity. But having said that, the funds that you're currently paying, if only those funds are utilized prudently and responsibly and actually managed with due care, it will go a long way to potentially resolving all your issues without huge tariff increases. And we've seen that all over. The one thing that I must tell you guys about, and that is, if you're going to embark down this road, whether us or with Eskom, doesn't matter, or with somebody else, EDF or Enel, that's the Italians, whoever you're going to go to, is the larger users, business, and the large power users are going to move over to time of use. Because currently here in NGWATHE municipality, the time of use tariffs are not being applied, but NGWATHE has to pay Eskom based on time of use. So between 6 and 8 in the evenings in a weekday, NGWATHE is probably paying Eskom R4.50 a kilowatt hour, give or take. I don't know what the tariff is. But they're charging from the community perhaps R2 a kilowatt hour. So if you have those disparities, there's structural problems, because people in the municipalities today don't understand how to deal with the tariffs and how to actually do a proper tariff study and do tariff analysis. So you just want to make sure, if you run a utility and a municipality, that the money that you have to pay out for bulk services is covered by the revenue. So you bring in electricity money, you have to pay your staff and your operational expenses, and you have to pay for your bulk services account. If you can't pay that entire chain, then you are in an unsustainable position. What have we done in Mafube? The farmers came to us, agri, and then business joined later, and they said, we heard you guys are busy planning renewable projects. We said yes, because we don't see us being in business in 7 years' time anymore. So we have to start looking after ourselves. Where's our renewables? Where's our energy storage? If we don't look after that now, we're going to have a problem. And hopefully, if everything comes together, there's, I think, 17 shareholders that actually knocked on our door and said they want to be part of this revival. And if everything goes according to plan in the next 4 or 5 years, Mafube may well be taken off the grid. And that's what we're looking at. We want to create sustainability in the energy sector. If there's sustainability in the energy sector, then we have water, and we have economic growth, and we have jobs. So really, the Mafube guys, the secret is they joined and they made it their business to save their town. And that is probably my parting comment. Thank you for being able to speak to you today.